Testes, testes, 1, 2, 3. Testes, testes, 1, 2, 3. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Boxing Club podcast.
I am yours truly, Big Chubbs, alongside with my Potter, OG Coach El Guapo. What's up, Coach?
What up? Here we are again.
How you doing, Coach?
Oh, doing good. Real good.
How's your weekend?
Good weekend. Very good weekend.
Yeah.
So can't complain. Busy. Always busy. I'm a busy guy.
So let's get into it real quick, man. I know we're a week late. You know?
We are a week late, and it's just the two of us again.
Yeah.
Again, the two lovebirds are not here. But that's okay.
They're on another date. No, but yeah, it's just us two today. So let's get into it real quick, man. Let's talk about that Canelo fight that happened last week.
Well, if you're a Canelo fan, it was a good fight. If you were disappointed, you can't be disappointed on a guy that his opponent didn't know how to box.
You know, I was kind of a little bit of disappointment.
Right. Why is that?
Because I felt like he should have fought a tougher opponent.
You know, just so you know, every fighter is a tough opponent.
Yeah.
So, because when you disrespect your opponent thinking, oh, he's not tough, that's when you lose.
Right.
That's when you lose. That's why you prep. You prep for the toughest fight. You don't prep for an easy fight. You prep for a tough fight. So, no fault to Canelo what he did. He did his job.
Oh, for sure.
That's his job. His opponent, when I said he didn't know how to box, he doesn't know how to box. And if you're going to, we already know who Canelo is.
Right.
In other words, you cannot walk up to Canelo and stand toe-to-toe with him and expect to say, hey, I'm going to out-brawl you. And that's why I said he didn't know how to box. When he played that game, let me just stand there and see if I can out-tough you. It didn't work. He should have boxed. What do I mean by boxing? Move your feet. Quit walking forward and standing there in front of him. That's not boxing. That's brawling. And even then, he couldn't even brawl. He should have stuck and moved, stick and move, show the jab, walk around him, circle around him. For crying out loud, the guy just stood there and didn't do nothing. In fact, it was not even a sparring match. Canelo had tougher sparring matches. He didn't even sweat. So that's no fault to Canelo. He did his job, and he did it beautifully. So I can't, people are talking about, he shouldn't have been this guy. But again, he was the ranked number one in that division, which means it was a mandatory fight. Canelo had no way of avoiding it. In other words, to say, well, Canelo is cherry picking. He wasn't cherry picking. It was a mandatory. The WBO says you have to fight this guy if you want to continue. So he says, all right, let's get it out of the park. And, again, typical French guy that doesn't fight. It is what it is. I hate to say that to the French, but he didn't do anything.
When I was watching the fight, after the second round,
right?
The coach is Joe Diaz, right?
Joe Diaz, correct.
He was telling Avni, you're not doing anything that we trained on.
Right.
You're just standing there. You need to move. You need to box. You need to move. You need to box. Okay. Went out to the third round, got knocked out. So if you're not doing what you've been training, because they've been training together for about a year.
Right.
Why? How does Canelo take you out of your game plan?
Well, it's like this. It's like with any fighters. When you're training at home, your own gym, you seem to do well. You understand. It's called ring advantage, meaning like court advantage. That's why I said ring advantage. When you're at home, you're comfortable to your own gym. You seem to move really well. You spar really well. You know the tension of the ropes, the corner, the size of it. You do really well. And it's like a basketball game. Like when everyone says, "Oh, home advantage, home court advantage." It's the same thing at your own gym. So when you go somewhere else, you lose that luster. Again, that's where Canelo's more comfortable. He's more used to the spotlight, and so he had more of a home advantage. Being, well, I'm more out here. It's if it's a pay-per-view fight, I've done more pay-per-view fights. This guy never done a pay-per-view fight or a big event like this is. So
he's always been an undercard, right?
Somewhat of an undercard, exactly. And, it's like when you see a basketball team like, oh, they choked. He choked. And that's why he didn't know what to do. He just stood there. But again, that's why I talk about learn to move your feet. And if you have problems or you're not feeling it, then learn to walk around. Use the whole ring. Do not just come to the center and stay there in a 4-foot pocket when you have a 20-foot ring. And when I always tell everybody, if you're in trouble, if you don't know what to do, use your best friend. Start jabbing. It's a stick, meaning poke it out there, poke it out. Keep it from walking in, and if you walk in, you still use the stick. That's the only way you're going to set up the punch. If you don't have a jab, you're not going to throw a right hand. You're not going to throw an uppercut or hook. Those are short punches. You're not going to walk in with a body shot. Those are short punches. You have to use your jab. It's the best weapon to start out with. Set him up with your jab. He didn't do any of that. He really went. He just was, and he was pawing his punches. He wasn't. He was playing a tough guy in the beginning. Like, oh, your punches are not bothering me. But it did. I mean, Canelo did a 1-2 and knocked him down. And then that's what really scared him. He goes, oh, that's such a simple punch, a basic punch.
Yeah.
The rest of the punches are going to come in. If he starts getting closer to the uppercuts, the hooks, the body shots, I need to walk away. And Canelo did throw some nice body shots.
Oh.
And the guy, again, just did not know how to defend him. He just, like I said, he just froze. And it's no fault to Canelo. That's why I tell, you fight. You learn to respect your opponent, and you fight to the end. So Canelo fought for a 12-round fight, meaning if this guy's tough, I'm going to beat him. Remember, Canelo did take a fighter for granted and lost his fight. He's learned from that. He lost to a guy that was smaller, older, not technically stronger, and he lost to him. And that's Mayweather. So he learned. He says, you know what? I'm not taking anyone for granted. This guy's bigger and younger, so I'm going to train like he's a bigger guy, and I'm going to finish him. So he did his job. So you can't fault Canelo. So I've been hearing a lot of negative things about Canelo, about, oh, he's cherry-picking this fight. No, he wasn't. The guy was, again, it was a mandatory fight. He couldn't avoid him. So it was a good tune-up for him, good warm-up. Good. He moves on. So that's what it is.
Do you think Avni, because he chose not to continue.
He chose to, correct.
He chose not to
continue. Well, as a fighter, I'm outclassed. I need to back out. Now, you give signals to your corner, eye signals, winking, sticking out the tongue, mean I want to get out of here. And that's where the corner man says, all right, I'm stopping the fight.
Because also at the end of the third round, Joe was like, hey, if you don't go back in there and you don't show me what we've been working on, I'm gonna stop this fight.
Correct.
Do you want me to stop this fight? And he stared at his eyes, and he didn't say yes, he didn't say no, he just looked at him with like a blank look on his face.
Right.
And then next thing you know, here comes the doctor. Hey, we're stopping this fight. It's over.
Yeah, and again, that's a good coach looking out for his fighter. So he's looking at him, and he knows him better than anybody to say, okay, you're not doing enough. Do I need to pull the plug? And meaning pulling the plug means I have to kill you. So when he didn't see anything happening, he's like, okay, let's just get out of here. If you don't think you can continue, then let's just get out. And again, boxers are not trained to quit. But like anybody, there's a point where you know your limits. And apparently he knew his limits. He knew he was in caliber for him.
I don't know if you saw this, but when he was throwing his jab,
right, and
he landed one on Canelo,
right,
and he just smirked. Like, that's all you got?
Right.
And that's when the body blows began.
Right.
He started coming in with them body shots. Oh, my God.
You know, what's really, what people don't understand in boxing as fighters, like you said, he gave that smirk. Boxers are actors. And meaning they let that guy know, if that's what you got, it might have been a good punch. I don't want to see another one like that. So I'm going to go, that ain't nothing. It's to let him know that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And kind of where it's like, ooh, that was a good solid punch for me. If that wasn't a good punch for me, then I have nothing else. That's part of the head game. And that's where the acting versus reacting like, ooh, that's a solid punch. So it's two things could have happened. It might have been a weak punch or it might have been a good punch. But that's the acting of the fighter saying that wasn't nothing to me. You see that a lot when a guy gives a guy a good punch, he shakes his head like that wasn't nothing. That's when the commentator says, "Oh, when that usually means I meant something." that is true to a point. To a point. So it's that acting as well. I received it. That means nothing. So meaning I don't want you to do that again.
I guess you put it that way. You know what I mean? You're pretty right.
It's a mind game in the ring. Remember, they're playing chess, not checkers.
Because right after that is when he started coming with them body blows.
Right.
And I was just like, oh man, he didn't have nothing for Canelo.
No, nothing. Again, for being ranked number one, a mandatory fight. Again, it gets to the point when and everyone seemed to know it, that he wasn't that caliber, where it should have been overwritten to say, I know he's your number one guy. But again, the winning case would be if, let's say you avoided him, because it was a WBO belt, correct?
Yeah.
Well, he can sue the WBO.
For him not fighting Canelo?
For not fighting Canelo. Meaning, if I'm the ranked number one, if I'm the mandatory fighter, you have to fight me. If you don't, then I'll sue you. And again, the belt holders don't want to be sued, because if it goes to court and they say, is he the ranked number one? Was he the number one contender? He was. And you didn't fight him? No. You took money away from him. So therefore, you're going to reward him and pay him his money even though he didn't fight. So that's why the belt holder says, we have to fight him even though we don't want to. And it makes no sense, but in court is court. He has the right. He put himself in that position to fight him. So you have to do it.
But wasn't he coming off a loss?
You know, I to be honest, I don't know his record, if he came from a loss or not.
I think he was coming off a loss.
If he's coming from a loss. But again, it still goes in command. Was that the WBC when he fought, or the WBO? If he's still the WBO, he's still the ranked number one. And if Canelo's fighting the WBO and he goes, hey, you have to fight me. So now Canelo fought the WBO belt, he can move on and fight another one. He says, okay, I already went after the number one. I'm going after whoever I want after that. It's no longer mandatory. But it was a mandatory fight, so you can't take that away from him.
I see. I didn't.
The French guy was going to get paid either way. Either way, he was going to get paid. And for him, he goes, well, if I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose getting paid versus sitting back and what if I could beat him or not. He didn't train to lose. He trained to win. Again, he just wasn't there for the fight.
Nah, he was outclassed. Like it was kind of depressing to watch.
You know, it's like this. I've seen thousands of fights through the years, and I guarantee it. For Canelo's team, they didn't find that a boring fight. So
I didn't say boring.
No,
I didn't say boring.
Yeah.
What did I say? I felt bad for the guy.
Bad for the guy. In this sport, you can't feel bad for anybody. I hate to tell you that. It's as coaches, as trainers, we're in it to win it, and we can't feel sorry for your opponent. So in other words, we're not in here. We're here to kill them. If you don't, our guy get killed. It's like that old military, kill or be killed. Right. So if we kill them, okay, that was our job. We did our job. We can't feel sorry. You can feel sorry for him, but as for Canelo, he cannot right. sympathize. It's not his job to do that. The only way Canelo would ever feel bad if the guy died in the ring. Right. Other than that, the guy's walking around. You can't feel bad for that because Canelo's been hit hard enough to know I can't be nice. There's no nice guys in this ring.
No, hell no.
Nice guys do finish last, and that's why. What I saw was a good performance for Canelo, good for him, and he could move on for the next fight. So it was a good tune-up, warm-up fight for him. So when he's ready for the next fight, so be it. He's in shape, and that's what he's looking for. That for him, he's clapping himself in the shoulder and patting himself. I did good. Let's move on.
So now Billy Joe Saunders is next.
Now Billy Joe Saunders is a better opponent, far better.
Way better.
And a hungrier guy. That's the key, a hungrier guy. This guy is a southpaw. He's 30-0 undefeated. And again, when you get
28 knockouts?
20, yeah, how many?
28.
28. That's a good record.
He's only gone the distance twice.
Gone the distance twice. That's kind of good or bad. Again, he's been to the distance twice, but at least he can box. When I say box, he's gonna move. He's not gonna stand there in front of Canelo. Again, if you're gonna fight with Canelo, you should not just stand there and say I'm gonna trade with him. When do you trade with Canelo? In the later rounds, not in the early rounds. That's when you test his heart. Okay, let's see. We're in the 10th round. Let's see what you can do. Let me pressure you more before we go to the championship round and see how much I break you. But you don't brawl with them in the first, second, and third round. That's just dumb.
Right.
Does that? Yeah. That's why I said your best insurance is to box first. Test the waters. Don't just jump in the deep end when you should be walking in the shallow and work around it. And then when it gets to the deep end, let's see how well we can swim.
Like Ricky Hatton did with Mayweather. He went in there guns blazing.
He went balls to the wall because in his mind he looked at himself. Hey, I'm the bigger fighter, which he was. Yeah. He was the heavier guy. Felt he was a stronger, younger guy. And again, and he's a high pressure man, Ricky. But again, what did Mayweather do? He boxed. He didn't stand there in front of him. So even that high pressure was there. Eventually, you saw what happened. So
yeah. Now, did you watch any of the undercards?
I did not because
Oh, it was
I was
your
out of town. I
anniversary.
raced to get home, and I got there just in time. So, and I was happy to get home just on time for that.
No, it was a good job. It was a pretty good undercard.
Right.
You know, before I get into that,
Yes.
they need to stop with this top ranked PBC and the zone on the same day. You know
Yes.
how hard it is?
I agree. I totally agree.
So many good fights that are being overwatched and overlooked and not paid enough attention to is because they got other fights going on. And jumping from channel to channel is
Right.
annoying.
It is, but the networks are fighting against each other. Meaning, that's why they're trying to promote themselves. Meaning, the more ratings they get, the more money they get, and they're hoping to bury the other opponent, the other network. And that's why I get it. I totally get it. It's a gamble, but they're hoping to say, hey, look, PVC, we're going against Showtime. Hopefully, we have a better fight, and people are going to tune into us. Therefore, the more ratings, the more money we make, and we take money away from your pocket instead of you receiving all that extra money. And that's why the networks do that. That's why they
Man,
do that.
It is so hard because when the Canelo fight who was on that undercard?
On Canelo's fight,
Who was on top rank? Top rank or PVC was fighting that night as well.
honestly, I cannot remember, to be honest with you. Again, I was out of town, so that's why it was just I couldn't really watch. I just got home just in time to watch the Canelo fight.
Because man, the undercard for the PVC,
Right.
my gosh, it was top notch.
Right.
But then also the undercard for the DAZN,
Right.
it wasn't what I expected. Because I forgot who broke his hand or he had a hand injury during sparring,
Right.
so he couldn't fight. I have Castro versus Ma Moraga. That was a good one too.
Right.
Castro is a two-time amateur champion who caused a knockout by a jab.
Yeah. Oh, that happens.
He straight knocked him
I've been
out.
knocked out by a jab, and I'm embarrassed to say that. But
Really?
yeah, because I walked into it, and I didn't respect my opponent. And in the amateurs, I beat him twice in the amateurs. And I took that in the professional fight, so I came in cocky, thinking, oh, I beat you twice in the amateurs, and your opponents you fought, I would have killed. And the guys I fought, you couldn't beat up anyways. So I came in cocky. Apparently he didn't get the memo about losing. So, and I came in, jumping in with no defense and walking into him. And when I remember, I didn't know what happened. When everything kind of focused in, and I go, oh, the fight's over. And in my mind, with the fight's over, I won.
Yeah.
And they said, no, you lost. What do you mean I lost the fight? And I go, what did I walk into? Right into a jab. You rolled right into it.
No
and I go,
way.
I was not balanced for it. Wasn't expecting for it. My defense wasn't there. I was too cocky for it. And then I realized, wow, I lost to a jab. The guy just, and keep in mind, jabs are not weak punches. Unless you've been in the ring, then you can talk. You know jabs hurt and they sting. And so when he was throwing his stinging jab and me running into it, it felt like it could have been a right hand. I didn't know what it was. It shut my eyes out. So, again, that's what happens when you play that game of I'm too cocky, not respecting your opponent. And it was, I should have won that fight, but do I cry about it? It's not his fault that he knocked me out. It's not that he won. I can't cry to him. This is something I learn and move on from there.
But you're very you're very jumpy. You got strong legs, dude. And
I move a lot, and that's really because it's.
So
I used to tell this to everybody, and I used to hear they say, "Oh, you hit hard, you hit punch, you got a fast jab and all that." Maybe true, but I never had that confidence as a heavy puncher. I knew my movement was going to save me, so that's why I said I'm going to pick my shots, and not stand in front of you, and make the fight easier, not harder. Meaning, if I know I played that game of toe-to-toe, it's a 50-50 chance of giving a good solid punch, giving it to him, as well as receiving. But I said, you know what? I'm not going to let you hit me. I'm just going to walk around you and work on it. That's why I move a lot. My bounce is a movement. I'm not jumping up in the air.
No,
I move side. I move to the right to look to punch. I move back to the left hopefully your counter, and I move back to the left again forward. So it's not I walk center. I walk around and making sure I try to square you up as much as I can, not stand in front of you where your balance is at.
You don't jump. That
No.
I know for a fact that you don't jump. You glide.
Yeah.
You glide from side to side.
Right.
You glide from back to forward, backwards. And I get frustrated, like when you're trying to teach me
Right.
how to do how to move a certain type of way.
Right.
And you come at me, look, cabron, I'm 10 times older than you, and I can still move better than you. I hate it.
Right. Well, it's just because I'm trying to practice what I preach to show
Yeah.
you what I'm
No,
doing,
and-
and then I'm saying, look, I'm not standing there in front of you to hit me. I try to play the ghost.
Yeah.
I play that peekaboo. Now you see me, now you don't, and here comes a
Right.
punch. And that's what I tell everybody. I said, when do I set my feet down? When I see you dropping your hands, and I see where you're squared up. When I see you getting disappointed of what you're not getting, and get discouraged, then I sit on my punches, and then I work harder, and then I start loading my punches. And again, I'm playing a game of chess, because I look at my opponents. Okay, you're younger, you're bigger, you're stronger. The advantage is all you. So I have to find the best way from it and not let you hit me.
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, my hips still hurt.
Your hips still hurt
My
from
hips
all the
still
workouts
hurt
we were doing.
from Thursday.
Yeah. And everyone tries to do weightlifting, trying to get those guns bigger and bigger and bigger. Remember, it's your hips. The faster you can move those hips, the more muscle you can build in those hips to be stronger. That's where your power comes from.
Yeah. I was it Friday morning.
Right.
When I had to go to work, I was like, man, what the hell did Coach do to me yesterday?
Right. Yeah, no, I get it.
You got me messed
I see it a
up.
lot. So,
But yeah, from that undercard from Canelo, Diego Pacheco, he's a good up and coming
Right.
fighter as well. That fight was the first time that he went the distance.
right.
But he won in a unanimous decision. So now he's 11-0 with 8 knockouts.
And it's good to go to the distance. It gives you more experience.
Yeah, because all his fights, most of his fights were stopped.
Right.
They were stopped. So, but yeah, he looks good. He looks really good. And then Zung and Forrest.
Right.
Zung versus Forrest. That Chinese guy can box.
Right. Yeah.
That dude was really good. Forrest got knocked down 3 times. One in the first round, and then twice in the second. And then the Zung got tired.
Right.
Forrest came back and put it on him. Ended up being a draw. So that was a good fight as well. And but so now let's get into a little bit of what is, how should he say it? A little bit of news.
Oh, let's hear it.
So they're saying that there might be a possibility of Shakur Stevenson fighting Oscar Valdez in Cinco de Mayo.
That's
Closer, Coach.
not true. They're talking because Stevenson is promoting himself to fight anybody. So it's is it possible? Of course it's possible. Is it practical? No, I don't think it is. It's not going to happen. Stevenson has to promote himself as much as he can. So he's out there promoting himself with other fighters too. So in fact, May 15 he has a fight already.
Shakur Stevenson?
Yeah.
With who?
Oh no, not Shakur Stevenson. That's I got the wrong guy. So Shakur Stevenson wants to fight. Well, he wants to fight
Oscar Valdez.
Oscar Valdez.
So when Oscar Valdez was at 125,
Right.
Shakur Stevenson was his mandatory,
Okay.
right?
Right.
So instead of fighting Shakur Stevenson, he vacated his belt
Right.
and he moved up to 130.
Correct.
So at 130, that's when he fought El Alacran.
I like it. Right.
So now Shakur Stevenson says, I'm going to go up to 130 because I want to fight you.
Right.
So do you consider that Oscar Valdez ducking Shakur Stevenson?
No, I'm tired of that word ducking. Fighters are not ducking.
It's promotion, right?
No, to be honest with you, yes. Let's be real. and we all know this, Oscar Valdez was having problems keeping that weight at 126. That's no secret. You know, he would be strong in the early rounds and he would fade and fade. And he says, hey, this diet is killing me. I need to move up on weight. So he wasn't worried about him. He was worried about, hey, I can't stay at this weight. As you get older, your body starts maturing and it gains weight. You could have 3 Oreo cookies and all of a sudden it gave you a pound. You know,
damn, really? Off of 3 Oreo cookies?
You be for a fighter. Yeah, you look. How is that an Oreo cookie put 3 pounds? But it does. The body's maturing. It wants to get heavier. It doesn't stay light. Everybody always. I hear this all the time. Oh, you should have seen me back in high school. I shut up about you in high school. You care less about high school. That's 20 years ago. Okay.
You should have seen me in high school, coach.
You know, I go. Worry about today, and you just can't keep that light weight anymore. So Oscar's what, 29 years old? It's hard to stay at 126 at 29 years old when the body wants to get heavier.
Yeah.
So that's why he moved up to 130, and that was legit. I understand how fighters are. The weight you're growing into it, and it's, in other words, you're not just fighting your opponent, you're fighting yourself.
Yeah.
And it's hard to fight yourself when everyone around you is eating all they want to eat. You know, they're eating donuts and cookies and carne asada and chicken, and you're sitting there like, I can't touch that.
Where's my lettuce at?
Right. So I get it where he had to move up on weight. So that's not avoiding anybody. Does that make sense? He's just figuring, you know, if you want to come to 130, come to 130. Oscar even says, we'll fight at 130. I'm not ducking nobody. And it's true, he's not.
Yeah, I don't like I said in the previous episode, his last fight is the best.
It's the best fight.
Absolutely best.
And let's be honest, Oscar wasn't cherry picking. So you can't be saying he's running away from other fighters. So,
and I think Alacran is a tougher fighter.
Than he is. He's a legit 130. Stevens if he wants to come up to 130, Oscar says, let's do it because I'm already here at 130.
Yeah.
I'm already got comfortable here. If I'm going to fight you, maybe today's the best time. Come and fight me right now and not get used to not being at 130.
Because they're both top ranked, so that's an easy fight to make.
It is, and it's not. Understand the promoters. Again, just because you want it doesn't mean the promoter wants it. Why? Because it's money in his pocket that you're playing with.
Right.
He's not caring about what you think. He's caring about his pocket. Promoters, understand it's a business. People don't understand it is a business when you're a promoter. Why? The promoter is the one who dictates it. He tries to figure out how he can stretch his dollar to make more money. Why? Well, because he's promoting it. He pays for all the advertising, the building, and he has to pay the fighters.
Right.
So, in other words, if he has 2 good fighters in his stable, and he says, all right, I'm going to pay you this X amount and this versus this amount. And end of the day, he says, I could have made more money if I had this opponent fight this other guy because I'm not paying twice. I'm paying once.
Right.
Does that make sense? I'm not paying twice the fighters. I'm paying once the fighter. Then I'll fight this other guy and still make my money. But meaning I'm paying 2 guys in my stable. I'm not making extra cash. Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
So it really it gets to the point where it gets exhausted, where he has to fight these 2 guys. You know, so in other words, it's like, okay, for neither of my opponents, there's no fights outside. All right, I'll fight both of you guys. But again, the promoter still loses.
But why?
Because he only promotes winners, not losers.
I see.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If I'm promoting you to win. I'm not promoting you to lose.
Right.
So if I have 2 of my fighters, it's like in the gym. No one in the gym says, okay, I'm going to fight 2 of my fighters in the same gym. He's going to win. He's going to lose money on one guy.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Like their stock goes down, right?
Exactly. And it's not something, and it doesn't work that way. The promoter wants to make money. It's just like when you talk to when a fighter goes, I'll fight this guy, and I'll put him up. And the promoter's like, shut up. We're not fighting that guy. And it's not saying, oh, you're ducking him. The fighter wants to fight his opponents. But at the end of the day, he has a boss, and that's his promoter. And he also has a manager. And the manager and the promoter work together, meaning what? The manager is the one that makes the decision what he's doing and what he's not doing. And he says, he's ready for this. He's not ready for that. Here's what we need to do. Here's the judges we're looking for. Here's the referees we're looking for. This is the ring. This is what we want to do. That's not the promoter's job. That's the manager's job.
Oh, really?
And he communicates to the promoter and says, hey, this is what we want to bring to the table for my guy. All right, okay? Let's go on and see if we can get it. You promote. You manage it. Make sure you get it. And if you get it, then I'll promote it.
Right.
So that's why there's certain jobs. And the trainer is not the manager. So the trainer has to work with the manager. And the manager has to work with the promoter. Meaning what? The trainer doesn't really technically work for the promoter. Because the promoter can say, I don't like this trainer. Get rid of him.
Really?
We can jump ships. So that's really, it's a down the line, so that's why it's a dirty business and it's a good business at the same time.
And why did Oscar Valdez go to Canelo? Why did he jump ship?
Well, okay, not that he had a bad trainer. He had Manny Romas. He's a great trainer, great guy. They're good friends. So it wasn't like they were fighting each other, and they weren't. It was just time for a change. Right. Meaning, Oscar exhausted what he did. What got him there at the top. It's almost he became too predictable. He was good in what he was doing, but now we can see what he's doing. We have to bring something else. So it's time for a change. Let's take what you're good at doing and let's add more things to it. You have to evolve from it. And Manny, if you want to blame anything on Manny should have brought more things to the table. But he's like, why fix something if it's not broken?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it wasn't really to the point where was it Manny's fault? No. But they're still good friends. It was just time for a change. And again, I remember when they asked Manny, about Oscar fighting Elecron, and he wished him all the luck, and he says, I wish he goes, I know he'll win this fight because I know who he is.
Exactly.
And so it wasn't an animosity about, oh yeah, he left me, he's going to lose. It wasn't nothing like that. Right. So nothing against Manny. And as coaches and trainers, we've all been in that same situation where I have a fighter and he moved on, and sometimes for good reasons, sometimes for bad reasons. So you have to, as a trainer, you have to move on and work on your next opponent and your next student.
Yeah, because I didn't see that.
So that's really what it is. So so far, Oscar's doing well. He's undefeated. Keep in mind, he was undefeated with Manny. So you can't say nothing bad. If he lost to Manny twice, maybe you can talk crap about Manny, but he didn't.
Yeah.
So my whole thing was, Oscar stayed in the pocket too long. He needed to move more. And again, this is the first time you've really seen Oscar box. Does that make sense? Meaning what? He didn't stay in the pocket. He moved a lot.
Yeah,
and he jabbed, and he knew. They told him, you need to move more. You have to move your head, and you have to jab. Also, you cannot fight on the ropes or fight in the corner. And every time he got in the ropes in the corner, you saw he got out.
Oh, yeah.
Because no matter how good, if he was winning in the center of the ring, and if he got pushed in the corner or in the ropes and they stood there, that's where he could have lost the fight. Yeah. So they knew, don't fight there, just get out. Well, he did a beautiful job.
Dude, he was fighting backwards.
Yeah, he did really good. He was
fighting backwards.
That's what I call boxing. Because if he would have stand toe-to-toe with a Scorpion, I don't think he would have won. It wouldn't have been there. He would have got more beat up. And you saw that in the past where he was getting bruised up and all that because he just stayed too long in the pocket.
Yeah.
When there was times where I watched, I go, you're winning the fight. Why are you? And he's fighting the 12th round like he was behind the points when he was ahead of the points. I said, you should be boxing right now. You don't need to fight in 12th round. When you won all 8 rounds, you don't need to fight anymore.
Right.
And people don't understand that. People want it to the death. You have to fight smart. And that's where he was losing his luster. He was staying in the pocket way too long. He was in the 10th, 11th, and 12th, fighting like it was for his life when he was winning the fight.
Did you see that Canelo gave him a badass horse?
Oh, yeah, that beautiful horse, that stallion. Oh, yes, beautiful horse.
I thought that was dope.
And if you follow Oscar, he's an animal lover.
Oh yeah, he's got a zoo in his ranch.
He does, and that horse looks very expensive.
Very expensive.
So that's a nice gift, In fact, that just tells you that Canelo and Oscar are very good friends because he was, like I said, and Oscar's a very humble guy, so I knew he appreciated that he got that beautiful horse. So they're good friends, very good friends for that.
Yeah. Also, Clarissa Shields fought Friday.
Oh, she is. She is the GOAT.
She is the GWOAT.
She is a very dominating monster.
What do you think if Layla Ali and her would have fought?
Oh, my goodness. Well, here's what. Keep this in mind.
Because you know Layla, right?
Oh, of course I know Layla. I've watched her fight. Layla is actually a taller woman, lengthier, reach-wise, and technically heavier. So she was a bigger fighter altogether.
Oh, okay.
So
I thought they were in the same weight class for some reason.
no, not at that time. No. And Layla was knocking people out. So nothing against Shield. I mean, she fought beautifully. You know, in her complaint, she says, "You guys don't give me a chance to knock someone out in 2 minutes and less rounds. If you let me fight 3 minutes and more rounds, you'll see more knockouts out of me." And I can understand that. I get it. That's true. So, but other than that, she's a monster. For them both to fight,
that would have been dope, right?
It would have been dope. It would have been something to see.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Could she give Layla a fight, give her trouble? Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a
Big
doubt, she
time.
could have. Because she is a high caliber fighter, without a doubt. She honestly, she fights better than men.
She can box.
She can box. She can bang. She can do all she wants.
She can brawl. She can box.
Right.
She's got power. And
Great footwork.
She looks great in the ring, coach.
Good footwork and all that.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, she's dominating the fights. You know, wherever you put her, she dominates the fight. And that was her 11th fight, but she dominated all 11 fights. She's like a Lemachenko coming in from, you know, as a medalist and walking into the ring right away and just taking out pros.
Yeah, because she fought, I believe she fought Marisela Cornejo too.
Right.
And she banged her up. And Marisela Cornejo can bang too. She can box.
You know, now they're asking her to come to 147, I believe. And that's a lot. And I don't blame her turning that fight down.
Who was it she going to fight with?
I forgot the woman's name, but she's a badass in her division as well. She's the queen of that 147. But I get it, where she says, "You want me to keep? I was up high, and you want me to keep dropping to beat up these people when they can't come up to me." Yeah. And that means I have to lose more weight. And she even says, "I'm not losing my booty for it. You're gonna have to pay me a lot of money to lose my booty." Yeah, because to drop 10 pounds, it has to come from the ass. Yeah. And she said, "I'm not gonna do it. I'm sorry. I like my butt. Not gonna lose it."
Hey, coach, but let me ask you something.
Yeah.
There's starting to be a lot more women in these combat sports, right?
Right.
Because there's starting to be a lot more women in the UFC.
Right.
There's starting to be more women in boxing. You know, this being March, it's Women's History Month, right?
Right.
I kind of want to dabble into, giving women more exposure. Why do you feel that they don't get the exposure that they deserve?
Okay, well,
because times are changing.
Well, yes and no. Yes and no, to be honest with you. As for female boxers, there have always been female boxers. They've always been. Just like in female basketball, there's been female basketballs. And even baseball. I mean, it's just, they started out in softball and they worked their way in baseball. It didn't work too well. And the fact is, it's your audience who pays the tickets to see you. And to be honest, really, I hate to say this, but men want to see men fight. Now, do they appreciate a woman fight? Yes, but at the end of the day, you could be an undercard so we can see the men fight. And it's not to sound sexist, but it is what it is. Until we really, but like when Ronda came into the UFC, she literally changed men's mind. She was a powerhouse, She really was. Even when I watched Layla was a powerhouse. But before her, before Layla, there was the Cold Mine's daughter. I forgot her name, dressed in pink. And she was a monster. And she was, when I was watching her fight, I'm sorry I don't know her name right now. The Cold Mine's daughter, that's what I remember her. She was in the Cold main event, and she dominated all the fights, meaning she was the main event no matter what.
No way.
So, and it was really watching her what made it exciting. And women can bang. They really can. So women do their work, and they do fight. They do really well. But, again, they don't get paid as much as the men do. They don't have.
Why do you feel that is? Is it because they don't headline, or is it because
it's not at the headline? It's just no one's going to pay for it. Not enough tickets being sold, and that's at the end of the day is why is one person gets paid more than the other? Because he's more of a headliner. People are paying to see you. It's just like why Mayweather's the most paid athlete. Well, he dominated both audience. In other words, if you're a Mayweather fan, you were going to go see him fight. And if you hated Mayweather, I'm gonna pay a pay-per-view just to watch him lose.
Yeah.
He won both cards on that one.
Hell yeah.
So that's why he's so dominating. And again, but he knew how to irk the people who hated him. He knew my fans are gonna love me no matter what. So I'm gonna irk the ones who hate me. So I'm gonna insult my opponent with the audience who hates me.
Right.
Because why? They were paying him to lose. He loved it. He even said it. He goes, I still love my fans that hate me because you made me rich.
Yeah.
And it was true. So to be honest, the females need to promote themselves more and more. And if you watched, when you watched, what's her name? She just fought Friday.
Clarissa Shields?
Clarissa Shields. She was promoting herself beautifully.
Oh, yeah.
And that's, Clarissa she was doing her job promoting herself, and that's what she needs. She needs to spark up people. You can't be quiet. Even the best fighter in the world can't be quiet. You need to spark that up. So that's why you hear more and more guys talking about, hey, I want to fight this guy, I want to fight this guy. It's because what? They make headlines. And the more headlines there is, people are going to want to watch you. That's why YouTube grew so much. Because you're out there doing stupid things, but people are watching you doing it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, us here at the Boxing Club Podcast, we support all women, and you will be seeing us do some interviews this month that we got lined up, and we back up women, coach.
Right.
So
as well as the men.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So.
But I don't know. Like, there's a lot of, like in wrestling, for instance, right?
Right.
Those women, those fights, those wrestling matches are a lot more like entertaining than the dudes.
So
right?
are you talking about when the women come in with a sports bra and a thong? Are you talking about them wrestling?
No, they don't dress like that. No more.
Are you talking about those female wrestlers? Because that was like the entertaining.
I'm just saying, like before in the late '90s and the early 2000s.
Right.
Yeah, they were, wrestling in thongs and underwear and lingerie and all that shit. But now it's like, it's different.
Well, again, no. Even like in football, when you watch female play football, they were wearing thongs, and that's the only way you're going to attract the guys. I hate to say it. That's what when we were watching, like, they're dressed.
LFL?
Yeah.
The lingerie football.
The lingerie. Then people were paying tickets. Were they really caring for the game?
Nah, hell no.
Nope.
And it's funny because I went to those, right?
Right. Okay, you went to those.
I went to those.
Okay.
And then every year, it was like they put on more and more clothes.
Right.
But I don't know if it was because we were paying attention more to the sport than what they were wearing. Like, they got really good at football.
I'm sure they got real good at football.
They can bang.
But again, they rather watch a pro team play.
Yeah.
They go, I really want to see guys bang and hit each other hard. Not that the women are not doing that. Not that they're not doing that. It's just because you get those girls into a football with a bunch of guys, they'll beat the guys. But at the end of the day, and I'm all for women's rights, it's just we're just not there yet to pay them.
Yeah. Well,
we just don't pay them the money they deserve to a point. It's just, again, it's the audience. It's you. You're talking about the audience want to do it. And if the audience don't want to do it, then you're not going to get anywhere.
And even too, like in the WNBA, they get paid hundreds of thousands.
Right.
The NBA gets paid millions.
Right. Big difference.
And there's a lot of exciting WNBA players.
Correct.
As well, but I think we're all for women empowerment over here at the Boxing Club Podcast. So we will talk about you and we will support you and we got your back. Yeah. Right, Coach?
Correct.
Anything else you want to talk about, sir?
Let's see here. Okay, so.
Hey, David Benavidez fighting next week.
Yes.
Oh, no, is it next week or in 2 weeks?
I think it's in 2 weeks, actually.
The 20th, right?
Yeah, the 20th.
Versus Ellis?
Yes.
Come on. You think I think he's too old for Benavidez.
He may be. Again, he got himself a fight. Again, you can't always rule out a fighter just like a game. If my whole thing is if he does not stand there in front of him, and if he moves, uses his jab, uses his angles, and Wade not to get into the ropes, put him in the ropes, he can make it a good fight. So, but again, the kid's young and he's strong. So
He's a monster.
he's a monster, and he's making headways. So.
See,
The thing is why I'm so neutral, because as a coach, as a fight, when I have my fighters, I don't overrate my guys to the point where I was like, we're going to win. And like, oh, damn, we lost.
Yeah.
I'm very neutral. And when we were going to fight somebody, I always tell my guys, you're the underdog. He's not going to let you beat him. He's not going to let you hit him. So what do you have to do? You got to work hard. We want to dominate this fight. We want this fight as easy as possible. So that's why I kind of sit back and when I said, depending on his corner and his team, if they did a right job of training him, he can win the fight. They don't go in there to lose. They go in there to win. And I've seen it 1,000 times where the opponent's supposed to lose, didn't, end up winning beautifully. And again, so when we fight, I don't make my fighter's head gets bigger. I pop the bubble and say, hey, you're not going to dominate this fight as you think you are unless you put your work in.
Right.
So again, what happens is when the trainer gets too cocky with your fighter, and that spells disaster. It really does. And when they realize, oh crap, we lost badly, and that's when you start analyzing yourself and like, oh, what I do? And now, because you came in cocky and stupid, you could lose your trainer. Meaning what? I'm jumping ship because of my trainer. And all fighters, at the end of the day, want to blame the trainer for their losing. For their loss, who are they going to blame? I'm not going to blame me. I'm going to blame my trainer. It's my trainer's fault why I lost. Just like if I won, I blame it on we won because of me, and my trainer helped me. But
that is so true.
So that's why I'm such a neutral guy when it comes to he's going to win. I sit back and say, well, it depends on the coaching and how serious did he take the fight. When we're going to fight, we sit down and we talk about winning a fight. Not understand. I say, hey, look, why are you losing the fight? If you're not pressuring them, you're not throwing your jab enough, and you're standing in front of them doing nothing, you're not moving around, you're giving them your opponent your fight. Are we here to win or not lose? And keep in mind, we're not here for the audience. We're here for the judges.
Yeah.
They're the ones who are judging you the fight. So when you're in front, and I would tell them, I go, where the judges sit. When we're going for a fight, hey, look, a judge sits here, he sits here, and sits here. So when you're fighting, you're working for this guy. You're trying to look good for your opponent. And when you're on the other side, you're working for him. So you want to win the fight. You never want to leave it to the judges. When you go, okay, the round's over. Oh, it's almost a 50-50 chance that the fight was close. And depending, it's his house, you lost.
Yeah.
And again, you stood there more. You didn't do enough punches. So it's really how you wake up your fighter. How much you really, he could have had a good camp training. But if he didn't prep his mind into the ring and say, look, this is what you got to do. If the referee does this, you do this. And if you got hit hard here, you got to impress that judge again and steal it back from him. So these are things you have to work. It's more than just punching. It's how you strategize in the ring the whole time. And again, how prep are you? And again, even the champion can have a bad day and thinking, oh, I'm not really in it. And
like Lomachenko did when he fought Teofimo Lopez?
And that's exactly true. If you watch that fight, he moved beautifully, but he didn't throw a punch. And I'm thinking, why are you not throwing at least a jab out there? What did you expect? You literally threw that round away, and the second round, and the third round. In fact, it was not even a sparring match in the early rounds. It would so Family was like, this is a good win for me. So it is. So.
Hey, what do you think about Tank Davis going up to 140 to fight Mario Barrios?
It's a good fight because when I think about it, Tank is really the monster right now in his division. Look at his record. He's knocking everybody out. In other words, to fight him, you're risking being knocked out. So again, you have to move and fight and be smart.
Because Barrios is not a pushover.
No, he's not. But he still has to fight smart because you don't want to test your chin with him. This is a guy you don't want to test your chin with. To say, you have to. That's why it's called. I need to outbox him, not outbrawl him.
Right.
You play that game. I'm gonna try to outbrawl you. Then it's stupid. You try to outbox him.
Do you think Tank is gonna box or brawl?
Again, a smart fighter knows when to box and he knows when to brawl. When do you box? You always box in the early rounds. Always. Always, always, always.
Why? Because you're testing waters, right?
You're testing the water. You're not waiting to be set up. And as the rounds go by, you look, oh, he's getting tired. Oh, he's not moving as much. Oh, he's dropping his defense. Now I can afford to brawl with you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? You know, but you don't brawl the brawler in the beginning. That's stupid. You're giving it the fight to him by letting him have you. So.
We'll see. Man, hopefully they do make that because it's not official yet, is it?
No, it's not official yet. So it's always. I've been enough in this business. It's in the makings, and you're waiting and waiting and waiting.
What's the possibility that you think that they'll make that happen?
Well, it's basically here's what you got to understand.
Because Ryan Garcia is not going to fight Tank.
What not?
They're not going to let him fight.
This is why you have to understand why people think it's an avoiding. No, it's not. It's the promoters trying to have both promoters are trying to have the best advantage, meaning the ring advantage, the gloves, you know how the ring's going to be, the judges, the referee. There's a lot involved in it before a fight even starts. The money, you know, like I'm hearing this, like Manny Pacquiao wants to fight.
Oh yes.
You know, he wants to fight.
Mikey Garcia.
No, Mikey Garcia. Manny wants to fight the 147. Why am I playing dumb?
Do that every day, coach.
I know, right? Wants to fight Crawford. He wants to fight Crawford. And he says, I'll fight Crawford for $40 million. Damn. And Crawford, you make 10. Well, Crawford says, I'll fight you, but 10 million? You walk away with 40? But that's what Manny wants. Manny says, if you give Manny his choice, he goes, hey, I'll take Crawford, but for $40 million. But you make 10. And I don't blame Manny because he wants to go, you know what, if I'm going to go out, I might as well go out on $40 million and walk away. Because Manny knows. He goes, hey, I'm getting older. I'm not 10 years younger than I was. It's time for me to leave. He's getting older.
Yeah.
And he knows he's going to get caught. Why? Because it takes a lot. As you get older, the workouts are not easier. It's harder. You know, your body doesn't have the same reflexes it was 5 years ago. So he says, you know, I'll train hard for this $40 million fight to fight Crawford. If I lose, I make $40 million. If I win, I made $40 million. But he's at the edge of leaving.
You rather see...
As for fighting little Mikey... He even says, Mikey, you're not good enough to fight me. You're too small and not a big deal. And it's not going to give him $40 million. It's not going to pay him $40 million.
Why?
And Manny, because who the hell's going to pay $40 million to Manny to watch fight Mikey? Who has Mikey fought lately? Let's be honest. Who has he fought lately?
Hey, you sound like a real Mikey hater, coach.
No, I'm just giving you the facts. I'm not, you know, again, if Mikey was fighting somebody in the 135, okay, you got a good chance. At 130, yes. But the 140 against Manny, I get it. You want to fight Manny, but you're coming from a loss, not one but two losses, and you want to.
It was a back-to-back loss.
Yep. So, and again,
who did he lose before Errol Spence?
He lost to. We have to look at that. You can look it up on your computer, but it didn't come from a win. It came from a loss. So he was looking for the lotto, and again. Do you deserve to fight Manny? No, and I don't blame Manny not wanting it. And even Manny says, I don't want to fight you because it doesn't bring enough money into it. Whereas Crawford does bring money. And, he's going to go for the bigger money. So that's what you're looking for.
Nah, he didn't come off of
Who did he win? What was his last fight before that?
It was Robert East Jr. and then Lipinets. He won both of those. And then Adrian Broner, he won that one. He lost to Earl Spence, and he beat Jesse Vargas after that. So he's not coming off of two losses.
All right. Corrected there. But again, it's going against Manny.
You're a Mikey hater.
No, I like Manny. I like Mikey. I like him a lot. I really do. But again, it's business. It's business. Just because you want to make it happen doesn't mean the promoters want to make it happen.
But there's been saying that's going to... Because I guess Bob Arum is not giving Crawford no fights right now.
I realize that.
So he literally put Crawford on the shelf.
But again, Bob Arum says if it doesn't make enough money, here's how it is. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make dollars. Yeah. And again, it's one thing. I get Crawford needs to be more active. And he did say, I'm not fighting for you for $10 million, which that would be his highest paid ever. To be honest with you.
Really?
Yep. So $10 million, he would make a lot, but he wants. Apparently, if he says if you're going to make 40, it's an insult to pay the number one guy $10 million. I want more. You know, at least 15 million. You know.
Yeah.
So he is a prize fighter. So that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, Mikey
And again,
Garcia
let's say
has one
Mikey
loss.
fights Manny and he loses, and it was just nothing there. And like again, what Mikey has issue is movement. He fights beautifully, but we haven't seen him fight lately.
What do you mean? He just fought Jesse Vargas in February last year. When was the last time Pacquiao fought? It wasn't in 2020.
No, it was against Keith Thurman, right?
Yeah, and he knocked him out. But that was like in
He didn't knock him out.
Well, basically.
No, he did not. Basically, that's not a knockout. He went to a decision.
Yeah.
He looked good doing it.
It was great.
I don't know if that was his last. Was it?
That was like in 2018.
No.
It wasn't in 2020.
I think that had to be 2019.
Watch. Manny Pacquiao. Ay, coach. Let's see. Where are you? It shouldn't. Yeah, it's. Where's I'm coming, coach. I'm coming. Let's see. In 2019.
Was it 2019?
Yeah. In July.
July.
That's a long time.
It's a long time, but he carries more weight. He is a 7-time weight division.
He is a senator for the Philippines.
So he's, again, you know, as a boxer, we all know who he is, and he's done his work. So, and he's on his way out, and he knows it. He's on his way out, so he's looking to make money. Would he make that kind of money with Mikey? I don't think so. In other words, okay, let's fight Mikey. All right, Mikey, you make 5, I make 15. Okay, done that easily. I want a big fight, and you know, he's getting older. He wants to fight a big fight. I don't blame him.
Do you think Crawford is a better fighter than Mikey?
Do I think?
Jeez, never mind. That face you made, bro. Come on.
Have you seen Crawford look bad in a fight?
No.
All right. So again, this is the guy everyone's avoiding. No one's not like.
Mikey called him out.
Oh my God. He also called out Spencer too. Okay.
Oh yeah, and he got Spence. It's not Spencer, it's Spence.
Spence, right? But he got what I said. It was a stupid fight. You don't go up in 2-weight division thinking you're gonna kick his ass.
Yeah.
It was not even a sparring match. It was just, you know, it was nothing. Mikey didn't even throw 20 punches. So why do you think he deserves another guy like Crawford? And Crawford's not. Crawford, you do that in front of him, Crawford's going to knock him out.
You think so?
Oh, I know Crawford looks for knockouts. So because he goes, oh, you're standing there. I'll angle to angle, move to move. You know, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, well.
It's not gonna
They
happen.
say it's Mikey and
They
Manny.
say a lot of things. Just because you say a lot of things, it's written on paper. You hear even fighters say it. Quit talking shit and put your name on the paper. So, again, it's just talk, unless it's written on the paper. And, again, it's based on promoters. Now, the fighters are doing their job. They're promoting themselves.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's the promoter. It's like Mayweather. Mayweather was his own boss. Who was Mayweather's promoter? Oh, that was him.
Yeah.
Who was his manager? Oh, that was him.
That was him. Yeah.
Okay? That's why he's the highest paid athlete ever.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? He made decisions what he was going to do or not do. And he went and looked for the best fights and made the most money. Made sense. Made dollars.
Yes, sir.
So, again, I get what the fighters are doing. With this media, that they do their best they can just to get the uproar going, get the attention. But, again, it's really based on the promoters, and people hate that. And I said, it's not that they're not trying to fight. It's the promoters make that decision.
Yeah.
The fighter says, I'll fight you. But end of the day, if you can convince my promoter, then let's do it. And that's what they're trying to do, convince the promoter.
Right.
And the promoter is trying to figure out, can I make more money? Think about it. If you're paying somebody, let's say Manny $40 million and Crawford $10 million, right? How much do you think the promoter's making?
A lot more than that.
A lot more than that. He's looking $300 million.
God damn.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And if he says, well, if I'm going to pay Manny 30 and Crawford 10, that's 40 million. And there's only 60 million? Nah, I'll pass.
Yeah.
I'll pass. Or make less.
Bob Arum needs to retire already because he's holding up a lot of good fights.
No, he's not. He's just a smart businessman. That's all. It's just business. I know the people hate it, but it's business is business.
Yeah, well.
You know, it's like when you hate your landlord. Business is business. I hate the landlord. He keeps raising my rent. It's business is business. Yeah. When you own your own building and you start charging rent, you'll start raising it too. And your tenants will hate you too.
Yeah.
But it's business is business.
Business is business. All right.
All right, we're good.
And you got anything else?
No, I think it was good. When the two lovebirds come back, and then get things rolling.
Yeah. All right. Quick little shout out to Traficante de la Sierra. He's got a nice little single.
There you
buzzing
go.
in LA right now. What's up, bro?
Thank you to Supreme Boxer for being here.
For letting us use his gym to podcast in this joint. All right, Coach.
All right, we're out.
Boxing Club Podcast.
Peace.
Out.